Hello mommies and daddies, this is OT Cesar and it's a Thursday, so it's time for another OTTTT Occupational Therapy Tools and Tips Thursdays! We have released a chore guide on our Facebook page, Growth with OT Cesar, that follows their developmental age and milestones. If we look at the first group that we use to introduce chores, throwing trash, putting away dirty clothes, and packing away toys, they all follow one simple instructions. That is, put away something into the right place. We have there, put clothes in the laundry basket, put toys in the toy box, and put trash in the trash can. Very easy to remember and very simple for kids to follow. But if we move down along the list, what happens is that tasks get more difficult, complex, and multi-step. All characteristics of tasks that kids want to avoid. So this OTTTT is on how to make chores easy for kids. Sometimes when we call our kids to do their chores, they could be out playing games with their friends, they could be busy checking out their toys, or watching their favorite show. It would then turn to a struggle of you repeatedly calling your kid while they continue to avoid, resist, or delay the task. And sometimes it ends with you finishing the task that you asked them to do. So we want it to be quick so that the reward would be to go back to the play that they were engaging in. Simple so that it's easy for them to remember all the steps in finishing the chore. And it should be broken down into smaller steps so that it's easily achievable. So we'll show examples of chores today where we apply those principles. And we're gonna work on sorting the laundry, setting the table, and sweeping the floor. Let's go! We'll start with sweeping the floor. When you hear this instruction, sometimes our kids think that we want them to clean all corners and everything on the floor has to be spick and span. But we want to find a way to make sweeping the floor sound easy and simple. The way I introduce sweeping the floor is by using colored mats. We start with a general instruction that when you sweep the floor, all trash needs to go towards the door or the exit where they will have to use the dustpan at the end. We break it down into smaller steps by having to sweep the floor from the red row, moving to the blue row, to the yellow row, and the green row. So they have to make sure one row is clean first before moving on to the next one. And in this way, they can see that the task is broken down. Instead of having to clean the entire big room, it's broken down into smaller, more achievable steps, which is fun and a lot easier for them to finish. Your child might need more assistance on how to hold the broom, how to hold the dustpan, and using both at the same time. But you can adjust the level of assistance that you give. You can start with modeling, cues, or hand-in-hand assistance depending on your child's developmental level. The next one is sorting laundry, which is basically a level up of what we had in the first group. This time, instead of just putting things into a container, we now have two containers where they need to sort their laundry. The colored basket and the white basket. You can turn it into some sort of obstacle course or a race where one end of the room would be the pile of clothes that they have to sort and the other end of the room would be two baskets containing white and colored clothes. You can make it more difficult by letting them sort the type of clothing, so it could be the tops, the bottoms, or also the underwear, and you can also let them sort them according to color. Now let's go to setting the table. The first thing that I do to introduce the activity is to have the table already set and then asking them to pack away or put everything away into the kitchen sink. That way they would already be introduced to how the table setup should look like. Instead of setting up the entire table for everyone, we also start with their own dishes and utensils first. I just let them remember forks. Forks is the sequence of how the utensil should look like on their own placemat. F stands for the fork on the left, followed by O, which stands for the plate. R is for the glass, which should be found on the upper right part of the plate. K is for the knife, and S stands for the spoon. Of course, if you want to increase the challenge, you can already add the parts that you want to use for the dessert, for the salad, but this is a good starting point if you want to teach setting the table for your kids. They can then start setting their own table plus their siblings' table, later on with you as the parents and everybody's table later on. And that's it for another OTTTT Occupational Therapy Tools and Tips Thursday!